Good evening. I want to thank the leadership of LULAC and President Rocha for inviting me to speak with you tonight. You know, I have a memory of LULAC. I was trying to think back to what year Hector Flores was president of LULAC. And at the time, he and I worked closely together. I remember he gave me an award, and it was a high point for me. And it was a high point because LULAC, as LULAC often does, worked in a bipartisan way around issues that affect the Latino and the Hispanic community. Now, I have to say, there's been much discussion tonight about many issues. And it strikes me that LULAC is and should be an advocate and has always been at its strongest when it focuses on the issues that matter most to Hispanics and to Latinos and transcends politics. And sometimes that's a difficult road to hoe because often organizations want to just sort of speak out on everything. But LULAC has 88 years of focus on issues that affect Hispanics. And that's why I'm really happy that the theme of this year's convention is education and empowerment, because that is such a core issue to Hispanics and to Latinos. And I just want to say, not only do I feel that strongly, but I've lived it. This is an amazing nation. You know, tonight started off with the song, "I'm proud to be an American," and I'm incredibly proud to be an American. And one of the reasons I'm so proud is because of the opportunity that this nation gave me and my family. My parents fled the Castro regime. They came over when they were teenagers. They met in high school. They got married young. They were teenagers. They had me shortly thereafter. My mother worked incredibly hard. At times she drove from Fort Lauderdale to Miami 90 minutes each way for her job. My father worked and worked and worked and ended his career as an inventory clerk at a cell phone store. And they never regretted it for a minute because one, they had a job. And two, they were able to give me an amazing education. And I'm the Secretary of Labor because of them. Now stop and think about what that means. That the son of two immigrants that came over that didn't graduate, didn't even attend college, that met in high school and got married and had a little baby, can be a part of the president's cabinet. And there are very few countries, if any, that offer similar opportunities. And that's what America is about. And that's education, and that's empowerment, and that is something really special. And that's such a great mission for LULAC to focus on. Now, over the last decades, Hispanics haven't always had as much access to education. 1990, there was about a 20 percentage point gaps between Hispanics and the rest of the country in the number that would go on to college. That gap has actually closed, and today, you know, I was speaking with the head of HACU. He told me that the Hispanic percentage of Hispanics attending college is actually a little bit higher than the general population, and that's great. But if you look at the numbers, it's actually not as good a message as it appears. And that's because only about 45% of Hispanics that start college graduate. 45% only graduate. And on average, it takes them more than 6 years. Now, the truth is, that's a reflection of a national issue. Nationally, about 60% of students that start college graduate, and it takes them 5.9 years. And so we talk about college all the time, but we need to ask ourselves, why does it take almost 6 years to graduate. And why do about half the kids that start college not finish? And if you survey them, I tend to be someone that loves to look at the data, not just rhetoric, but data. If you survey them, what they'll say is they don't see the point. And they don't see the point because colleges are not teaching them the skills that they need to get jobs. And if you talk to the businesses out there, and I have, and you talk to the CEOs, they will say, we have jobs and we want to hire, but we can't find individuals to hire because they don't have the skills that they need to fill our jobs. And so before being Secretary of Labor, I was dean at FIU, Florida International University, a Hispanic-serving university. And I was dean of the law school, where we were majority Hispanic and graduated the most Hispanics of any law school in the country. And I have to say, as an aside, by the way, we also had the highest bar passage rate in Florida. And so anyone that says that a majority Hispanic or majority minority institution can't be a center of excellence is downright wrong. But my receptionist was a gentleman who desperately wanted to be a police officer. And so he went to FIU, and he studied hard, and he was gifted with student debt. You know, the average student debt for Hispanics is over $50,000. And so he was gifted with student debt, and he graduated, and then he's like, well, now I can be a police officer. Wrong. He doesn't have police academy training. And my point is this. Colleges have forgotten that their mission is to teach skills. Kids go to college so when they graduate, they can have a good, high-paying job. And colleges have forgotten that. There are 6 million job openings currently in America. 6 million open jobs, more than we've ever had in history. And employers say they can't fill them. And so I want to raise an idea that we've been working on at the Department of Labor, and that the President has signed an executive order, on which the President has signed an executive order empowering the Department of Labor to take this idea broadly and widely. And it's the idea of apprenticeships. And I want to tell you what they're about. It's about earning while learning. It's about experiential education. A little later today, you're going to hear from Ford. Ford's one of the sponsors tonight. Well, I traveled to their F-150 plant in Dearborn, Michigan, and I talked to the individuals there who are apprentices, and they have an amazing program. They hire these young men and women. They pay them while they teach them. They have 8,000 hours of shop training and 600 hours of classroom education. They have articulation agreements with local community colleges. So when they're done with their training, they're 3 courses shy of an associate's degree. And they do this at no cost to the students because they want a great worker. Think about that. You have a job. While you're at the job, they teach you, you get college credit, and you get paid. And I'll tell you, companies are hungry for this. We've been talking to company after company that says, we want great workers, and we are willing to do this. And so in the building trades, for example, the building trades, construction, welding, invest $1 billion a year of private sector dollars to train their future workforce. And here's a secret that people are not aware of. The typical apprentice that graduates from one of these apprenticeship programs has a starting salary of a little bit over $60,000, $10,000 higher than the typical college graduate. No debt, great salary, great job. And so it's my hope to provide choice. Some students may want to go to law school. I love the fact that they want to do that. And just today, even though I'm a cabinet secretary, I provided a recommendation to someone that worked for me when he was a student, and I chatted with a second one of my former students who wanted job advice. I love our students. But not every student wants to do that. And we need to figure out a way to provide the opportunity for everyone to follow their chosen path to a good and a safe job. And apprenticeships are a great way to do that, because if someone doesn't want to take on college debt, if someone wants to go and be a pharmacy tech or a police officer, they should do that. And if someone wants to go to college and get skills at the same time, colleges should provide that. There is no reason why universities cannot incorporate police academy training, why they cannot incorporate pharmacy training into their programs, why they can't incorporate programs that provide job skills. And I want to close by making a point. Some say that this is anti-intellectual, that this is not what colleges are about. And I was speaking with some university organizations about this, and here's the point I made to them. What do you call medical school? You go to class and you learn in class, and then you do your rounds and your internships and your residency. None of us would let a doctor touch us that hasn't had hands-on experience. And no one says that medical school is not rigorous and is not intellectual. And so the idea that job education is anathema to college education is an excuse and nothing more. You know, we have the unemployment rate came out this morning, and it was a great number. 222,000 new jobs, unemployment rate of 4.4%, and one great news was that the Hispanic unemployment rate is near a record low. It's dropped just in the past month by 0.4% in 1 month. That is one of the largest monthly decreases. But, you know, there's still kids, and there's still Hispanics and Latinos that are unemployed. If they had the right skills, they would have a job. And so it's my hope that organizations like LULAC will work at the local level to encourage the community colleges and the baccalaureate granting institutions and the universities to say, we have an obligation to our students to make sure that when they graduate, they have the skills necessary to a job, to get a job. It's not just about debt, but a job. And that's a great message for LULAC to advocate. And so thank you for having me, and enjoy the evening. Thank you.